Today I want to talk with you about why most people are failures. 99% of people, they're just not going to get what they want. All right? And there's a lot of reasons for that. You know, a lot of times people would just say the simple thing, which is they're not working hard enough. The reason why people are not getting what they want is because they're not working hard enough. And you can argue that point. You can say, yeah, you're not putting in the effort, but that's not the whole reason, okay? That's not even the main reason. The main reason why people are not getting what they want is because they want the wrong things. Okay? Right? You can want a lot of things, but if you want a lot of the wrong things, you're not going to get it. But if you want the right things, then you're going to get it. You're going to absolutely have exactly what God wants you to have because you're putting Him first. It's that simple, right? It's not because you didn't work hard enough. Now, if you want the right things and you work hard enough, you're going to get what you want. And that's why I always say faith plus works equals life. But faith without works is death, right? It's useless. So not only do you have to have faith and have the need and desire to want the right things, you know, the desires of the Lord instead of the desires of the temporal things in this world, but also the work ethic to match it. Now, let's say you want the right things and you have the work ethic to match it, but you lack the strategy. Okay? A lot of times people don't have the right strategy. Like, they want the right things, they have the work ethic to do it, they'll put in the 40, 50, 60 hours a week to make it happen, but they don't actually know what to do or how to do it. For example, there's a lot of times where people want to write a book, or they want to start a business, or they want to make things happen, but they don't know how to start. It's not like they want the wrong things. Like, maybe they're meant to have a business. Maybe they have the work ethic, but they don't have the tactical strategy to make it happen. Or they're studying the wrong people. All right? The reason why most people fail is because of that reason. Like today, the Super Bowl is happening. It's Sunday. I think, what is it? Today's the 8th? February 8th? And people are going to sit down. They're going to watch a 4-quarter game with the halftime show. A lot of commercials. And they're going to be studying something that is, I'm not saying it's not important, but it's not aligned with what they really want to do in life. There are a lot of people just watching it to be with their friends, to keep up with the conversation, to be a part of the clan, right? To be an American, if that's what they want, right? And so they kind of walk into this trap, 6 o'clock. Even people start before then because they have the pre-Super Bowl parties. And 4 p.m., they're getting started. And then finally the game is done around 11 or midnight. And they've already invested 6 to 8 hours in something that's formatted to not be in their best interest of their success. So it's not that they have the wrong desires, and it's not that they don't have the right work ethic, but they have the wrong strategy. If you want to build something, but you're busy watching the Super Bowl, you're not going to win. If you want to build something and you're watching what other people are doing, thinking that you can do it the same way when you can't, you're also going to lose. A lot of times people say, well, I'm going to study this guy or this girl because I like the way they're doing it. Well, what works for certain people may not work for you. And what works for you may not work for certain people. So you have to be able to distinguish the difference. Because a lot of people can't. A lot of people cannot determine what's real and what's fake. Like, you walk into the bookstore and you're looking for self-help, or you're looking for books on finances. Let's talk about books on finances. And you want to learn about money. If you go to Barnes and Nobles, or even on Amazon, and you type in like top 10 personal finance books, or you ask the librarian or the clerk to find you the best books, they're not going to be able to do it. If you go search in Google or YouTube or Instagram and you want like finance videos, it's not going to pop up. Like if you type in, you know, like how to become successful, all these nonsense videos are going to come up. But if you study the right thing and you know exactly what to ask for, and you're able to go through that information and you cycle through it the right way, then that information will appear from the right people in the right way and at the right times. And it's going to be incredibly obvious because God is going to speak that information to you and through you, where you're not even going to have to pick and choose whether or not it's right. You're going to know. And the reason why most people are not successful and why they fail is because they don't know. Jesus Christ said, "You shall know the truth, and it will set you free." But very few people know the truth, and so therefore it cannot set them free. Right? They don't have the ideas and the understanding and the strategies and the temperament. All right? This is why God doesn't just choose anybody and everybody. He has a select set of personalities that he's going after. For example, when he chose Paul the apostle, Paul was already a lawyer. He was already a well-known Pharisee. All right, Paul knew the scriptures probably more than anyone. He understood the laws of Moses. That's what I'm saying. 613 Jewish laws. He studied them. Paul was a mass murderer. In a lot of ways, he was probably on a path to building a career on politics. That was probably his trajectory, because being a lawyer, understanding the law, you know, going to go kill more Christians, making a name for yourself as, you know, like a war strategist and like a political leader, he felt like that was likely the path that he had to take. But on his way to Damascus, on his high horse, he was stunned by the face of Jesus Christ. And the Lord spoke to him, and he said, "Son, I got a different plan for you. I got a different path for you." And Paul was like, "Me?" Jesus Christ was like, "Yeah, Paul, why are you persecuting me?" Actually, his name was Saul. It became Paul. Anyways, that's besides the point. And Paul realized that he was ordained to do something that the world has never seen before, which was to write the Bible, the New Testament, a lot of it. Not every part of it, okay? Because the Bible is written by 40 different authors, and the New Testament has multiple writers as well. But Paul had to write about, you know, a lot of things, and he had to address what it really means to be a Christian. And God knew that this was the type of person that could handle the persecution. All right, Paul was jailed, he was whipped, he was shipwrecked, he was stoned, he was called names, right? He was distrusted by other Christians. And in fact, it actually took him 14 years of his development and healing for him to finally come to Peter and the other disciples that Jesus directly taught and work with them, which was a pretty long time. 14 years is not like, you know, it's a brevity of time in God's point of view, but in man's point of view, 14 years, like your face changes significantly, your mindset changes significantly. But he finally came back and he said, "I'm Paul. I was formerly Saul. I've repented. I'm making a change." And he was some who failed originally because he wanted the wrong things, and he was willing to work for those wrong things, and he had the right strategy to go after those right things. But then his mind was cleared, and his path was changed. And instead of wanting the wrong things, he wanted to do the right things, which is to write the Bible. He wanted to inform people of the truth. Then he had the work ethic to match it, because he took the same work ethic that he had before to build what was possibly a political career, and he went all in to write this Bible. Like he's writing the Bible from prison. He's writing the Bible with sweat and blood and tears and fears that he's overcoming, and a lot of cares, you know, and things that happen in his affairs. And He was constantly attacked by the devil. But then finally he had the strategy, okay? And this is why he became a massive success, right? Because he wanted the right things. He went from wanting the completely wrong things to completely wanting the right things with the right work ethic to match it and the right strategy, okay? So it's wanting the right things, having the work ethic to go after those things, and also having the strategy to use your work ethic to go after those things that God is actually giving you to do. And that is how you become a monumental success. But Paul was chosen because he had those ingredients, right? He had desires that were able to change from night and day, left and right, black and white. Like, he was able to transcend and receive a vision and a mission. And God said, I like this man for the purpose that I'm going to call him out for. And that's exactly what the Lord did. He made sure that Paul was equipped. And that's exactly what he's doing for you today. So if you want the right things and you have the right work ethic, but you don't have the right strategy, then it's time to take a second look. It's time to reinvest. It's time to reinvent. It's time to take some suggestions that are beneficial to the plan that God has in your life. All right? Because if you're depending on guesswork and trial and error, it's never going to happen. Okay? You can only get so far by trying to figure things out on your own. Bible says that if you want to do something big, you need a lot of counselors, right? You cannot go to war without wise guidance. All right? You cannot defeat Satan without having a bunch of people on your team that can help you understand what you're going up against. And this is why I read a lot of books. The books that I write, the videos that I make, the live streams that I do, is not just to remind you, but to equip you. All right? A lot of times the things I mentioned you already know. But if you don't know and you want to go deeper and you read and you study and you apply, you're going to start seeing things that you never thought of before. And they're going to begin to have an impact in a way that you've never been impacted before. It's going to speak to your heart. It's going to speak to your mind. It's going to speak to your soul. And then you'll be directed to your highest goals. All right? So what are some of the wrong things that people want? Because we're talking about why people fail. You know, wanting the right things is the will of God. But the will of God can only be understood if you have a relationship with Jesus Christ. All right? But if you don't have a relationship with Jesus Christ, you typically end up wanting the wrong things. And what are the wrong things? It's the desire to satiate your fleshy needs. Okay? And there's a lot of ways that people pursue those goals, those ends. We know lust as being one of them. You know, they're like, if I don't get my fill for the day or my thrill, then I'm not going to be happy. And they have to mess around and watch porn and do certain things to get them to satiate those needs, right? Some people have to gamble. Some people have to lie, gossip, cheat, steal, rob, hurt, physically, mentally, manipulate, emotionally, deceive, right? These are evil deeds. And people want to do these things because they don't understand the bigger purpose that God has given them. Their heart is not set right. And at the moment, they're going with the flow. But here's the truth. Only dead fish go with the flow. All right? Only dead fish go with the flow of where life is taking them. A lot of people end up working jobs that they hate. They end up in marriages that they absolutely abhor. All right? They're stuck in sexless marriages. They don't know how to get more of what they want. They have relationships that are just failing in every single capacity, in work, you know, personally, professionally. They're not able to achieve their goals because they